Yeah, this is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Let's go!
Well, it's all happening at the Essendon Football Club over the last 24 hours, and I'm sure there's more to come. To catch us up with all the information is, well, the Bombers' biggest supporter, our mate Stevie Butler from the West Australian. He's been across this, and I'm sure as a proud and passionate Essendon supporter, he'll be a bit flat with what's going on over there, Nat.
Well, I mean, this sort of, I don't want to say, well, it's a furor. It's embroiled in a furor, isn't it? Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we play the music for his team?
Well, why not?
If you think it's going to help.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know.
This is how we summon Steve Butler. We play this and he turns up.
Hello, Stephen.
Oh, my goodness.
What's happening, Steve? Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
I always need a hug. I think they've taken tanking to a new level when you start thinking you've got to get rid of your coach and your president.
Yeah. I mean...
there's no question, but a lot of people are saying this is just a play because Alistair Clarkson's still there, and it's like, you're going out with a good girl and you really like her, and then, this real hot one comes on the scene. And they're like, oh, we're in here.
Yeah, and then you realise you've overshot your abilities. Look, I would think that is absolutely the case, and I've said it quite for a while, because some people have been trying to tell me that Alistair Clarkson wouldn't want to coach Essendon because of his Hawthorn days. Well, I think that's nonsense.
Oh.
And have right from the start. I think absolutely. I mean, if you looked at the three clubs that have got, potentially available positions, two definitely in GWS and North Melbourne, and Essendon, I don't think there's any doubt which list is better in my mind, and that's Essendon's. And they've got some good young talent there. They've got the immediate capability of playing better football out of all those teams, even though GWS beat Essendon a couple of weeks ago. But I think Alistair Clarkson would see Essendon as a big inner-city Melbourne-based, close to inner-city Melbourne-based club, ready to pop. I think he'd be very enchanted by the prospect.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Steve. I think Essendon's list is pretty good. North Melbourne are going to be building, but here's the big thing.
They've been building for 10 years.
Well, so it's Essendon. 2004 was the last time they played finals. Like, that's a long time ago.
2004.
Essendon's got the membership base, the corporate backing and the coin.
Yeah, why would you go to North Melbourne? Like, poor North Melbourne, everyone's saying how good it'd be for Alistair Clarkson to coach North Melbourne, and they arise from the ashes.
Like a phoenix,
But the reality is, you get an opportunity to be at a club that's got all the resources in the world. You go, ta-ta.
Yeah, I mean, do people actively want to, jump on the loser bandwagon? In hopes that they're the people to revive it? Is that a delicious prospect?
You want to go for the losers that have got money rather than the losers that haven't got money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that may have been really before all this blew up at Essendon. I was thinking that maybe Alistair Clarkson would probably go to GWS, because you would think that the AFL really want to keep building that. So they could pay him an ambassadorial part of the contract, which would lure him up there, and he knows that the AFL are going to pour money into GWS to try to make them good. So I thought that might be the case. But, Ben Rutton, he's got to Essendon training this morning, and the reporters have all mobbed him, obviously, and he's just said, look, I'm just going to be the best coach I can be for the next 5 days. I'm not sure he'll get that opportunity. And Dyson Heppel said the coach has got our full support, so he's clearly gone.
No, he's screwed. Don't tell me the board have said it too.
Steve, if you were given the power today to make the changes to correct the direction of your club, give us a quick list of the things that you would do.
I'd teach Essendon players how to play defence.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. They've got very good talent on their list. When they run the ball fast, hard forward, they can challenge any team in the competition, but they can't defend. And that's got to come back to the coach.
Well, but then also, do we need the fans taking a leaf out of basketball's book and doing defence?
Yeah.
Defence, so it's top of mind?
Well, I've been in an Essendon crowd. I'm not sure I've heard that genteel type of action.
Well, maybe that's the problem, Shaun. If you're saying defence is the issue, then maybe a constant reminder of defence. Clap, clap, clap. Defence, clap, clap, clap.
At the moment, the Essendon players think defence is the thing that goes around the oval.
Hey.
Well, there's certainly a lot to play out there, Steve, and Alistair Clarkson in the shadows just waiting to see. I'm sure they're meeting with him as we speak to see if he'll take on a contract.
You'd hope so, otherwise it's going to be awkward if he's going, oh no one's talked to me.
Well, but what happens if Ben Rutton... So Alistair Clarkson says in the next 24
I'm going
hours...
to Sydney.
I'm going to go take up one of the other roles. Where does it leave Ben Rutton as the coach of the Essendon Football Club?
Well, if you looked at that vision last night of Nick Hine coming off after giving away a 50-metre penalty and completely ignoring his coach and not even wanting to sit next to him on the bench. I think that said everything.
Yeah.
But, Dyson Heppel said the players are all with him, so it's a real watch this space. But, look, I just don't... you know what it feels like? It feels like Kevin 07 with John Howard and a bit like, Scott Morrison with Elbow. When there's a mood for change, it happens. And, David Barham, who's a former Channel 10 sports executive, has taken over the club, and there feels like there's a massive move for change. So if I had woken up as Ben Rutton this morning, I'd be very worried for my job.
You'd be logging on to Seek.
Yeah, I think you'd just have a look there and I don't know how you swipe or anything on there, but that's going to be...
Do you reckon you wake up and do you reckon you wouldn't have an appetite? Like usually you might have had some Wheat Bix and you'd just be feeling sick.
I tell you what, you wouldn't do.
You walk into a throng of...
you wouldn't read the papers.
You wouldn't read the papers.
No.
And then even you'd be looking out your window to see if there's press outside on the way to your car.
There's probably every chance they are. The worst part is because your family and your wife and kids and stuff like that, they're going,
I reckon your Wheat Bix would be soggy without any milk.
Oh,
yeah.
They would be.
And you've got to take the knives out of your back. It's a tough time. Appreciate your thoughts, Steve.
There you go.
Oh, well, we punch on. Go Bombers.
Go Bombers. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
This is Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
It's all happening over at the Essendon Football Club at the moment. Their president, Paul Brasher, was replaced yesterday. A new board are trying to get in there to make sure that they get control of the club to axe the coach.
Right.
We'll get into that a bit later on. So, Nathan,
they should get Scott Morrison to do it in secret.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. You'd be able to get away with that easily. If you do the right thing.
Yeah,
only a few people need to know.
Yeah.
So Ben Rutton, I would say by the end of today,
dead man walking.
Yeah, his job will be gone. But we'll get into that a bit later on. Yesterday, Nat, you might have seen hanging around that over on the East Coast, they put up the 100 richest AFL players, what they're getting a year. And West Coast Eagles had 7 players, according to the report, 7 players inside about the top 30. And those players were taking up almost 50% of the salary.
Yes.
Cap. And they're all the old guys.
Yes.
So Adam Simpson was asked on Channel 7 last night when he does his weekly wrap. And, he wasn't happy with that article at all.
It's quite disappointing, actually, to read something like that, which it's not just a little bit off, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars off in terms of trying to guess what the players' wages are. I know the article was nationwide, which is really disappointing on behalf of our players to take a guess like that. So the rest of the article makes no sense because it's just not true.
Okay, so who was he wrong about? Because we know that Gov's pretty much bang on, isn't it?
I know that Gov's the highest paid player, whatever he says, and I don't know. And people were telling me $1 million a while ago.
So 700,000 was Nick Nat. So do you reckon that's probably?
Well, let's take
That would be
15%
about
off
right,
everyone
surely.
because it's over the top.
Yeah.
Let's just take 15% off. It's still a lot of money, and it's still a bloody big percentage.
It's a big chunk of the salary
Of
cap,
the salary
on
cap.
the older players.
Yeah.
Hey, so other clubs, right? So say up and coming stars that are big names like Bailey Smith. What would he be on?
Good question, Nath. He's just re-signed for another couple of years. That is a really good question. It's really hard to guess. Because there's the body of work and there's also what you see as a promotional sense.
Yeah, because you think of, like you said, it's the older guys in the team. I mean, they're the ones that have established and proven and their names and their marketable.
And their contracts were signed, 3 years ago.
Yes, but so I was just wondering if it can happen on the opposite with an up-and-comer be given a big pile of money because they can see the future of that person rather than having the runs on the
that's
board.
the Tom Boyd story, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tom Boyd was the only person who was given $1 million contract over 7 years.
And he paid like
Buddy
5
Franklin.
games or something.
Yeah, so is that why people are, the Tom Boyd clause now? It's like, don't do the Tom Boyd thing.
Well, it's really... so the clubs just went berserk there for a while where, so say some of the Eagles guys are on 3 to 5 year contracts. The Governor's on about a 5-year deal. So 5 years ago, at the age of 25, he was just dominating. He's still bloody brilliant, by the way. I'm not putting him down at all.
No, he's amazing.
But so then they just extend it for a length of time. So that's why he's the highest paid player at the West Coast Eagles, not necessarily because he's now the oldest. It's just coming to the end of that contract.
And sometimes they back end the contracts too, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
They do. Getting back to those younger players, Nathan, it's really a dicey situation for all the clubs to overspend early on the young product after they've had a couple of good seasons because they're hot at the time. Because you don't know what the next couple of years is going to produce. Yeah. And all it does is forces the club into a position where they might have to sell other guys, which happened to Collingwood because they paid too much for a younger bloke at the time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot to
minefield.
balancing that salary cap. And sometimes you get to a point where the GWS Giants had a lot of young talent, and because they're in Sydney, a lot of those guys from Melbourne in particular, they're like, unless we're gonna have to overpay these guys, otherwise they're going to leave.
To get them up
would
here.
you like
Yeah.
to see it go into another dimension where there was no salary cap and see what happened?
God, that's exactly.
Well, what would
happens
happen
with
would be
EPL.
the rich clubs would get richer and richer and dominate,
Would you like
and
to see
the
that?
struggling
Would you like
clubs
to
would
see
fold.
What
No.
that look like?
No, because then there's the power clubs and they all play together.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's the mighty. You're looking for the Mighty Ducks scenario every year. I'm
You
sure it's going to
are.
work.
We'd
out.
end up with Collingwood being successful all the time, and nobody
right.
wants that.
But the other one, the West Coast Eagles
Yeah.
are almost the most powerful club in Australia.
Yeah, they make money. They do
they
make money.
them-
Yeah.
So,
Well, wouldn't the Dockers be the Mighty Ducks then?
the Mighty Dogs.
Are they one of the Poories, or are they
no,
they're in
quite
the
No,
rich.
you look at your
Quite
North
rich.
Melbournes
They're
and-
North
Quite
Melbourne,
rich.
so we'd go past Hawthorn in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richmond are a big club. Carlton are a big club. Essendon are a big club. Did I mention Carlton?
Yep.
There's a few, and then the rest would struggle. Like the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to go and play for them. Tasmania looking to bring in a new team.
Yeah.
They won't have the capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no.
No, they might. No. I thought about it. I'm going to say no again.
Wow.
It's been pretty firm on it.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.